The Zephyrian hunting fleet emerged from hyperspace with the silent grace of apex predators. Their sleek biomechanical vessels pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that spoke of centuries perfecting the art of the hunt. Commander Vex 9 flexed, his razor-sharp appendages as he studied the sensor readings of the third planet orbiting the yellow star. Another primitive species, he chittered to his pack. Bipedal, soft-skinned, no natural weapons. They call themselves humans. The Zephyrians had dominated the Outer Rim for millennia, harvesting lesser species for sport and sustenance. Their reputation preceded them. Worlds would surrender entire populations rather than face the horror of a Zephyrian hunt. These humans would be no different. Captain Sarah Chen felt the bridge of the UES Defiance shudder as another plasma bolt scorched their hull. 3 months had passed since first contact, and humanity had learned the terrible truth. They were not alone in the universe, and they were considered prey. "Shields at 30%, reported Lieutenant Morrison, his knuckles white against his console. "They're herding us toward the asteroid field." Sarah's jaw tightened. The Zephyrians had already taken 12 colony worlds, treating human settlements like hunting preserves. Each attack followed the same pattern: disable defenses, land hunting parties, take trophies. The aliens seemed to relish the terror they inspired, broadcasting the hunts across their empire as entertainment. "Not today," Sarah muttered, her fingers dancing across tactical displays. "Morrison, patch me through to Admiral Hayes." The holographic image of Admiral Hayes materialized, his weathered face grim. Behind him, the coordinated chaos of humanity's last stand played out across dozens of screens. Earth's entire remaining fleet, over 300 vessels, hung in space around the Sol Systems Edge. "Chen, report," Hayes commanded. "They're using the same hunting pattern, sir, trying to funnel us into the belt where they can pick us off individually." Hayes nodded slowly. "Then it's time they learned what happens when you corner a wounded animal. Operation Switchback is a go." Across human space, the plan unfolded with clockwork precision. For months, humanity's best tactical minds had studied every recorded Zephyrian hunt, analyzing their patterns, their psychology, their arrogance. The aliens hunted for sport, seeing prey as inferior beings to be toyed with. They had never encountered a species that could learn, adapt, and fight back with equal cunning. The Defiance powered down its weapons and began broadcasting surrender frequencies, exactly what the Zephyrians expected. Commander Vex 9 clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as the human ships began breaking formation, appearing to flee in panic toward the asteroid field. "Begin the harvest," he ordered, savoring the familiar rush of the hunt. But as the Zephyrian fleet split into smaller hunting packs to pursue individual human vessels, they triggered the trap humanity had spent months preparing. The asteroids weren't asteroids. Hidden stealth platforms, camouflaged as space debris for weeks, suddenly blazed to life. Magnetic accelerator cannons that had been secretly positioned throughout the belt opened fire simultaneously. The Zephyrians, who had expected to corner frightened prey among the rocks, instead found themselves caught in a devastating crossfire. Captain Chen watched with grim satisfaction as Zephyrian bioships began exploding in brilliant flashes. "All ships, execute Phase 2. Show them what humans do when we're done being prey." The fleeing human vessels suddenly reversed course, their apparent panic replaced by coordinated aggression. These weren't the same ships that had limped away from humanity's first encounters with the Zephyrians. Every hull had been reinforced with salvaged alien technology. Every weapon system had been upgraded with hard-won knowledge of Zephyrian weaknesses. More importantly, every crew had been forged in the crucible of desperate warfare. Commander Vex 9 felt something he had never experienced in centuries of hunting: fear. The soft-skinned bipeds weren't running anymore. They moved with predatory coordination, using tactics his species had never encountered. Where Zephyrians hunted for sport, humans fought for survival, and that made all the difference. Impossible, he hissed, as another of his hunting packs was systematically dismantled by human forces. "They're just prey animals!" The answer came in the form of Admiral Hayes's voice, broadcast across all Zephyrian frequencies in their own language, another human capability the aliens had underestimated. "You made a mistake," Hayes said, his words cutting through subspace with cold finality. "You assumed that being prey made us weak, but every predator species learns the same lesson eventually. Sometimes prey evolves." The battle raged for 6 hours. When the plasma fire finally died away, 3/4 of the Zephyrian hunting fleet drifted as scrap metal among the asteroids. The survivors limped away, carrying news that would spread throughout their empire like wildfire. Humanity was no longer prey. In the weeks that followed, Zephyrian hunting fleets began avoiding human space entirely. Other prey species, hearing whispers of the impossible, a successful revolt against the galaxy's apex predators, began reaching out to Earth through hidden channels. Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of the Defiance as Earth came into view, her ship bearing scars from a dozen battles that had turned the tide of the war. Behind her, Lieutenant Morrison cleared his throat. "Captain, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 Zephyrian colonies. They're asking for mercy." Sarah nodded slowly, understanding the weight of the moment. Humanity had climbed from the bottom of the galactic food chain to the top in less than a year. The question now was what kind of predator they would choose to become. "Send word to Admiral Hayes," she said finally. "Tell him the hunters have become the hunted, and it's time to decide if we're going to be the monsters they were or something better." The stars stretched endlessly before them, no longer a hunting ground for alien predators, but a vast frontier where humanity would write its own destiny. Among the stars, the prey had indeed become the hunters, but they would hunt for justice, not sport.